back. It is a beautiful Thursday at 10 a.m. in the morning. My fantastic co-host and I are very, very excited to bring back to you, the people, the fantastic people of Toronto and the greater world, the most fantabulous podcast in the Toronto GTA. This is the Hoser Podcast, brought to you by Everest Mandy and Aiden Bell. We hope that you all had a fantastic winter break and a good Christmas, a happy new year, got some nice turkey and put on a few pounds. Aiden, how are you doing this morning?
This has been a little bit frantic, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
We have a show before us now, so we only have about 10 minutes to get set up, which is a little bit brutal.
When we were on Fridays last semester, we were like the first show in the morning starting at 10, whereas now there's a 9 to 10 before us. So it's harder to get stuff set up and ready to go.
Yeah, tell me about it.
All right, so while you're just like plugging away over there. Yeah, and even internet's down too.
Yeah,
which is
that's just brutal.
Yeah.
We need our notes.
Is it working for you?
It's working for me,
It
man.
is?
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on here.
Let's start off with our welcome back. You
Okay,
know? So
yeah.
how was your break?
It was good, and everybody, welcome back. Officially, welcome back to the working lifestyle, back to the real world, as they say. Man, my break was pretty good. Went back home for a majority of it. It was really, really relaxing, honestly. Saw a lot of friends, a lot of family. It was really good, man. I ate a lot of food, like a lot of food. But it was interesting because like the first 2 weeks that I was back, I ate probably went to like 3 or 4 family dinners for sure. And I didn't gain any weight, like any actual pounds. Like I scaled myself at 200.6 or something like that, like 2 weeks before. And then after 2 weeks of meals, I was still like 200.6, which was really interesting. I was kind of proud of myself, but also ashamed, because that doesn't really matter given the fact that I haven't gone to the gym or trained or done anything that physical in the last like month or so.
Oh no, our monitor.
We're just breaking everything.
Yeah,
Or that might have been me, honestly.
All right. The first episode back jitters.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a pretty good break too. I got some pictures to show here. That's why I was tilting
Really?
our preview monitor
Oh,
here. I don't know
look
if you
here.
can
I'll
see it.
I'll scooch over.
But here's me and Dad making some sausage here.
Okay.
Oh, there's us. I don't know if I should show this,
Oh,
but
Target shooting?
that's me target shooting there.
Oh, wicked.
yeah.
Is that just the 22 there?
That is the 223, whatever the NATO gun is.
Yeah, 223.
Yeah.
That thing's wicked.
Yeah,
Is
that's
that
us
does it
making
have
sausage?
Is that wood stock, that 223, or is that plastic and resin?
It's composite or
Okay,
something. Yeah. We also shot the 30-30 Winchester, which is like
Oh,
old school
yeah.
cowboy gun.
Was that the
which
first
pretty
time you
dope.
ever shot that? Because
I think so.
I've talked to Aiden about this many times. That is my favorite weapon of all time. Like the
Here's my brother shooting it. I
1875
think I got this one in slow mo. Oh, whoops.
lever action. It's such a prime rifle. It's the Wild Wild West weapon. It's the
Yeah.
weapon of the cowboys for sure.
I think this one's in slow mo, so you can see like the. Come on, Graham. Shoot
I
it.
love how you guys are like flatbedding it out of the back of the truck.
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
wicked.
that's our redneck ways. I want to see if I can get pictures.
That's sweet.
Over reading week, I want to have you over.
Mm-hmm.
I want to have you over, and we're gonna shoot a pre-recorded where we make moonshine. I think that would be fun.
Over the reading week, like this.
Yeah,
Oh,
this
dude,
reading
I'd be
week.
so down. That'd be such a good
I'll see
idea.
if I got video of me
Great segment.
making
That's good.
moonshine with Dad here.
How long does that process take? Like start to finish, if you want to make like a good quality product, like not just kind of like rush it. You know what I mean? How long would you say?
It's kind of hard to say because it's not actually like that complicated. You know, you essentially just boil the alcohol in the stove.
Right.
It might take like an hour, you know, like 20 minutes for it to get up to temperature. You go through like a carboy or two, you know. Depends on how much you want to make, really. As long as you want to do it, as long as you have alcohol to distill, right? The thing that takes long is brewing the alcohol itself.
Okay.
That takes a while. Well, not really. You just kind of like heat it up, mix it together, put the yeast in, and then you let it sit. Letting it sit is what takes like a couple months, right?
What, like, does that have to be at room temperature when you're letting it sit, or does it have to be cooled?
I think we do. We put it in the cold room in the basement, so
Okay.
it's a little bit cold.
Nice. Has your dad ever like completely botched a batch before? Have you
Of
ever tried?
moonshine?
Yeah, have you ever tried any and it's just like completely awful?
I mean, some of it's just like gasoline.
In
right?
general,
like
it's kind of awful, but like
yeah,
in a good
like
way.
I'm not a hard alcohol kind of guy. You
Yeah.
know, like it's not my cup of tea. I prefer like a good beer or something. But yeah, I don't know.
We had a debate in my marketing class. My prof, it's kind of a cool class. I like it. It's like marketing 100, so it's an actual marketing course. But my prof's really sweet. Every week he does. I can't remember what the game is called, but it's kind of like a version of like the quick question block that we did when Graham was on.
Yeah, yeah, Nolan.
No, when Nolan, I always
Nolan.
get those two confused. When Nolan was on, my bad, Nolan. I know you're listening probably. Yeah, he always proposes these new commercials that kind of pit a lot of different brands together. So one of them during the Super Bowl was like a Budweiser and like the big, like the big four beer brands versus all this craft beer. And then he sparked up like an opportunity in class for people to raise their hands if they liked craft beer more than like imported or like the brand name beer. And the amount of like argumentation that occurred from that, like it was pretty insane, man. I'd say the majority was pretty down. Like Corona, I don't know if it's just because of the coronavirus and people were trying to be funny.
Yeah.
But Corona was like very popular amongst the class. But craft beer supporters were pretty intense, honestly, man.
Yeah?
Yeah, because all the craft beer drinkers were like the older, like, like 22 to 23-year-olds, a little bit older. And then all like the Corona and the Bud Light and the Budweiser and even like, like PBR, some people, like just like the younger, less financially inclined.
The broke kids.
Yeah.
Some people aren't broke and they're just like, oh, it's hipster, it's cool, it's edgy to drink PBR. And I'm just like, get out of here.
Yeah.
Man, that's gross.
You need no-name beer.
I like Milwaukee. Okay, I got a thing to say about no-name beer, okay?
Okay.
So in our promo video for this season, we had no-name beer for the meme, for the lulz. But I got a lot of backlash from people that I know when I put no-name in S tier, okay? I have it on good authority that Big Rock Brewery, I'm pretty sure my grandpa told me this. I don't know. I think he sent me an article or something, so I feel like there's
He'd
proof
probably
of
do
it somewhere.
Yeah.
But that Big Rock Brewery is a big brewery, but they have a craft license, so they can only produce so much beer under their own label a year. So what they do is they sell that excess beer to Loblaws as no-name beer. So no-name beer is just Big Rock Brewery, just half price.
I love it.
Yeah.
That's sweet.
So it is S tier because you're getting a way better beer for like less money. Where if you go buy PBR, which is like even more expensive than no-name, it's grosser, you know?
Mic drop. I'd say that's
literally,
a mic drop.
I can't drop this mic. It's on a lever, but I can unhook the phone or something.
I had assumed. Actually, I guess I didn't really assume. I was just kind of curious. Like, No Name has so many different things that they make. They have such a diverse.
They have cabs now. I've been seeing cabs all over Toronto. Yeah. No-name brand taxis. Like,
I've literally seen, like, not in person, but like just like scrolling through Twitter or whatever. And like I've since our experiences with No Name beer, I've like followed like the No Name brand a little bit more, But they have like No Name apartment buildings. Did you know that?
Yeah, I saw that.
That's freaking ridiculous. I've never seen another beer or food, I guess you could say, beer or food and drink company.
Let's see if I can pull up a picture of the
like
No Name. Yeah, here, look. Here's the No Name brand taxi. Like, look at this. Seats 4 people and 1 driver. And here's the building.
I love it.
Like, you don't remember that movie WALL-E?
Stuff, you guys. Yeah.
It's like the By and Large corporation that owns everything. Like the batteries are By and Large in Toy Story.
Yeah, the milkshakes.
The milkshakes, the shuttle that they use.
Right.
WALL-E himself is By and Large. But that's the thing in the Pixar universe because the batteries in Buzz Lightyear are By and Large.
Oh, so it's candid.
Yeah.
Oh, damn. Okay.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Dude, I don't know what's going on. I'm about to start freaking jumping with the little T-Rex. What's that game called when your browsers and all your internet's down and you can play?
You know what it is? Have you signed into your laptop yet this semester?
Like into like Rams and Ryerson and stuff like that?
Like into the Wi-Fi. Have you used it yet?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Because
they've really been screwing with us. Campus is like a complete train wreck right now. You can't get from
we were
one
going
end
to
of
talk
campus
about
to the
that.
other. It's brutal because of the construction.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Here, I got the
You
sheet
do?
up
Okay.
here.
Run it through.
We have weather on here.
Yeah, no, I did.
What are we gonna talk about with weather?
Because freaking global warming, dude. Climate
Oh,
change
yeah.
is real. It's crazy. It's happening.
Especially this week, man. Like,
Yeah.
it was so warm yesterday, and then today it's not
Snowing.
cold, but it's snowing, which is
Yeah.
weird, you know?
It's ridiculous.
Like, it's February. We haven't had, like, proper winter weather yet.
No.
It's, like, actually scary,
No.
you know?
And we've had, like, if anything, we've had, like, a single day where it's been, like, really freaking cold.
Yeah, and my family out west was making fun of us because we got a weather warning for Toronto for -12 or something like that.
Wow.
But I don't think they understand that it's been like +5 every day. So when it suddenly goes down to -12,
people are
like not wearing coats and stuff.
yeah,
You
they're
know,
not
like
ready for it.
yeah,
Jeez.
like I almost left. Like I usually check my Alexa in the morning, like for the weather or whatever,
Yeah.
just to know if it's gonna rain
Right.
in the winter. If it's going to rain,
That
because it has rained multiple times this winter.
We should
And
be
she
doing
was
that.
like, "Oh, -12 today," and I'm like, "Oh, good. I'll actually wear my winter coat." Like I almost left in a hoodie.
Holy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be bad. You know what happens to me a lot though? When I wear a hoodie under my jacket and I don't have a t-shirt on, regardless if it's like super cold outside, my winter jacket's pretty hefty. I get like super sweaty if I don't wear a t-shirt under my sweater.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is about. I don't know if it just keeps me kind of like, toasty
Maybe it's
like
like
a thermos.
placebo effect.
Or yeah, it's a gazebo.
A gazebo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't remember what movies that's from, where this
Yeah.
kid like learns about what
The other thing that bugs me too is like, I remember this BuzzFeed article or video a couple of years back about how air conditioning's racist because, or it's not
What?
racist, sexist, because women can't wear skimpy outfits in the office.
Okay.
Because the air conditioning's too cold. But I come into the RCC, it's, winter, like maybe not this winter, because it's so warm out, but last winter it's like
Yeah.
-20. I'm dressed like this, I got flannel on, I got, pants on, I got a winter jacket.
Yeah.
I come in here and it's like 25 degrees. Like I'm instantly sweating.
It's freaking.
This room right now is like 30 degrees.
When
Like,
we-
I'm not kidding.
When you walk in, like the guy, and this is the other thing too, we haven't had people in here before us, so we've walked into a relatively crisp and fresh room. When there's two guys in here, like no offense
Yeah.
to the other two guys, when there's two guys in here for an hour, it gets hot as heck in here, man. Like to
Yeah.
another level. Like when I walked in, you can physically feel like the atmosphere in here is different. It's thick.
Yeah.
It's thick in
Yeah.
here and musty, bro.
It's dense, man.
Yeah, it's
It's
exactly it's
dense.
dense. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, I ripped a couple while I was training because I work for Spirit Live, right?
Mhm.
So I was training people.
Right.
Had a burrito beforehand.
Oh, I thought you were joking when you said I ripped the cup. I was like, you gave some students some crap. You were strict on them.
No, I'm saying, yeah.
You ripped the
in
cup.
this like tiny
Oh my
confined room
God.
with no circulation. Probably stank in here for the rest of the day.
Jeez,
Oh,
man.
Oh, we just lost some
Yeah.
subscribers.
And
on
and
that
when
one.
when Aiden gets going on I don't know how
Yeah.
to describe it, but
yeah.
you got some good ones. You got some good ones.
You want to move on to our second segment, the rural
Yes.
internet and 5G?
Yes. Oh, I loved the bullet points you added. Beautiful.
So this is a thing that bothers me a lot, right?
Mhm.
I moved to my farm around the time that you moved away from yours,
Yes.
and just in terms of chronology,
Chronological.
chronologically
Chronologically.
thinking
it's early. It's the first show.
whatever, man.
Chronologically.
Yeah.
Chronological.
Like internet was getting important when you left your farm.
Yeah.
It was already important when I got to mine.
Right.
When you left yours, there was still a Blockbuster.
True.
You
Yeah.
know?
We'd literally go to
You could go
Videotron,
and-
Blockbuster,
you could go and
all
rent
that.
a movie still.
Yeah.
When we moved to our farm, like there were no movie rental places anymore. You had to stream or
Right.
buy a movie from Walmart or something.
Yeah.
You know? So it really sucked going from having like high speed when you didn't really need it, to pretty much dial up, in the middle of nowhere. And the reason that it's so slow is that we have a phone line, we have DSL, but the lines are 80 years old.
Are you serious?
Yeah, and Bell refuses to update them.
What?
Yeah, so we don't have any Rogers cable, like infrastructure at all. We
Yeah.
can't have cable. We can have satellite TV if we want, but we don't have satellite for some reason. Even though that would probably make our internet situation a lot better if we did have satellite, but it's like $200 a month or something. stupid
Yeah,
like
that's
that,
a lot.
So screw that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
So, but when I moved there for the first 3 months, Bell told us, yeah, we'll set you up with our 50 megabit a second plan, which is a decent enough plan, not a good plan, but
50
passable.
megs a second, you said?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. For point of reference, down here in Toronto, I'm getting 1,000 megs
Yeah.
a second, and that's a good, very good connection.
Right.
That's probably like one of the best connections you can.
That's prime.
Yeah, that's
For sure.
gigabit.
Yeah.
But they kept saying, "Oh yeah, you guys can have high-speed internet," but they kept trying to hook it up and it wouldn't work. So for the first 3 months, we had no internet, and I was on Wind Mobile, which is now Freedom Mobile.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I have a picture of it. I maybe get my mom to send it to me. But I used to climb the TV antenna and sit on the roof because that's the only way that I could check my phone. See, people were texting me, wanted to
So
hang
you'd
out.
be out on the roof, like
Yeah, my
frickin-
mom would come home from work and like see me sitting on the roof, and I'd wave to her just on my phone. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, man.
Yeah.
Well, and the other thing too, like I just kind of thought about this when I was on the farm and had very little access to internet and technology, like as a whole, I wasn't in a position or point in my life when I needed it. You know, you were doing Cougar Vision when we were in high school. Like when you were out there,
Yeah.
we needed internet to be able to get grades and
So-
graduate.
Yeah. So like for reference, we were doing like this TV show for Rogers TV, and
Yeah,
it was really frustrating because I was
shout
relying.
out Rogers.
I was relying on crap talking Bell right now. But to be fair, Rogers isn't bringing us cable either.
Yeah.
So we could have had cable internet, but they won't bring us the cable, so they
Yeah.
also suck. When I was in high school, we were doing this TV show for Rogers TV, and I was relying on other students to get me their edited stuff, and they get it to me the night before it was due. So I would have my phone out in the front yard. I would tether my laptop to my phone, and I would download the stuff over Google Drive over my LTE connection, 1 bar of LTE, because that was faster. And that would still take a couple of hours. So I was up into the wee hours of the morning editing this thing because it took so long for, someone would submit their piece at like 10 p.m. or something
Yeah.
like that. Like, oh, that's a reasonable time. Aiden has time to edit it. No, because it takes me 3 hours to download it.
So you'd be working into the early
Yeah.
AM hours.
Just because the internet connection was so slow.
Holy.
And that's not even to mention like Google Classroom and ManageBack and all these platforms that students are required to use. Like it's a
Right.
necessity to have decent internet.
Yeah.
Like in Toronto here, we have good internet, and that's good because like my program requires me downloading large files, but also watching YouTube. You know?
If there was 2 days where we didn't have internet, we'd be screwed.
Yeah, literally. Like
it-
I'd have to come to school and use it here, and if
Yeah.
the internet was down, like it would pause everything, man.
Yeah. Well, just the other day too, like we'll talk about like little things like that we take for granted, like the printer in the RCC. When you told me that it was down the other day,
Yeah.
like I came initially, like I was walking this way, and I called some other friends that were trying to print as well, and I'm so happy that I was able to go to your apartment to print it, even though you weren't there, because it was frantic
Yeah.
over here for a bit. Like 2 of my mates couldn't print, and they had to hand their papers in late.
Well, it's kind of funny how reliant we are on this stuff, you know? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
We take it
I
for
remember my
granted.
parents, my friends used to always tease that, like, oh, they probably have a shipping container buried in your backyard as a bunker or something like that. And I'm like, haha. But I remember my
Oh,
mom was
excuse me.
driving me to, like, I don't know, karate or something. She's like, yeah, we don't like how much we rely on society, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, okay.
No, I feel like our parents would get along very swimmingly
Yeah.
in that regard.
But I have a segue here into why Bell doesn't want to update her 80-year-old phone line.
I was just about to ask, like, why?
Because they're seeing a 5G future.
Yeah. Here we go.
So I have a big problem with this. So there's a lot of controversy about this 5G stuff, right?
Mhm.
5G, for those that don't know, is the 5th generation of phone technology. So many of us are old enough to still remember 2G, which was really slow internet, and 3G, which was like passable, 4G or LTE, which is what we have right now.
Yeah.
5G is the next iteration, right? But I don't really see it as necessary because LTE is like still faster than a lot of home internet connections.
Mhm.
Like theoretical top speeds of like 200 megs a second, 300 megs a second, which that Bell plan I was talking about that would have been good enough was 50. We're getting 1 on the farm right now, 1 megabit per second.
Can I ask do you think this is kind of like a stupid question, okay, but I want your honest answer. Do you think that if you had better internet, better access to better ability to be efficient in what you were doing in high school and all of that. Because for those of you that don't know, Aiden, him and I were in this really, like, I know we've talked about Cougar Vision. It was a pretty intense, like, media program, but you have to understand when I say that Aiden was like the guy out of every single person. And Aiden's like really humble and modest, but like he probably wouldn't say this, but out of every single person in that program, this man was like the hardest working mother frigger, like, you know, in the class. So
Thanks, babe.
just, yeah, and like with him trying to do all that he did, like anytime something went wrong, you ask Aiden for help, he can fix it no matter what. But this guy is fixing all these issues, doing all this extra stuff on top of what he has to do with a lack of resource. So my question to you is, do you think that if you had better access and efficiency to resource, like internet and better internet overall, that you would have had a better time, or like, you know, made better productions in general, or had an easier time producing
would
them?
have made my other classes easier because I would have had more time to work on other stuff. Because I was still taking like a full course load while doing all this other crap, right?
Right.
Yeah, I think that's the only way to put it, you know. And there were lots of nights that I slept over at friends' houses near,
Like closer to the school?
closer to the school. The only problem was that my main editing computer was a desktop computer, and that I couldn't really lug that around, so I had a crummy little laptop.
Yeah. That was back in the days when Final Cut was like our only video editing tool.
Yeah.
It's wicked.
So 5G.
Yeah, sorry, my bad for
That's
interrupting there.
So Bell doesn't want, because they want to just move everyone to 5G, and that includes home internet. But there's quite a few problems with 5G. So people are worried about cancer and stuff like that because it's millimeter wave band.
Right.
That's not going to happen because the millimeter wave band can't penetrate anything. There's a really good Linus Tech Tips video where he's trying out Verizon's or T-Mobile's or something in New York City, and if he's facing the wrong way, not facing the transmitter that's on the top of like a light post or something in New York City, he gets no reception. If there's an umbrella between him and the broadcaster,
Won't go
no
through.
reception.
Jesus.
And the other thing too is that like clear windows, if it's at the wrong angle, the signal will bounce off the window, like reflect off the window, and you will get no reception.
That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Like, why? Like,
And that's the thing too, is that you need pretty much one of these transmitters every 15 feet, pretty much.
yeah, what's the radius like for
That's
like
terrible.
one?
It's worse than Wi-Fi.
Could it develop like after they kind of, you know, bring it out into the open marketplace? Like, do you think that it'll develop and innovate to a point where they could change the radius?
It's because you're talking about like dealing with physics here, right?
Yeah.
So it's that wavelength of radio wave that is the problem. It's not the transmitter itself.
Oh, it's not right. Yeah.
So, like, and there's the environmental impact of having to build, you know, thousands and thousands of these little transmitters and install them, and then they break down and you have to replace them. Like,
yeah, like how durable would those mechanisms be?
I don't think very durable, man. Like, it's like a little Wi-Fi router you're putting up in a tree. Like,
yeah, one for like harsher climates too. Like, you're not.
Yeah,
in
they're
fucking Florida
outside, like,
24/7.
you think about how often your router needs to be changed every, you know, every 3 or 4 years. That's not bad. But when you're talking about one that's outside, needs to be one every 15 feet.
Right.
Like, I don't know, man. It's just
Well, and a lot of like, isn't there? Because I always hear commercials and stuff for this, especially on Spotify, saying like, it might have been Australia's major 3 phone providers or network providers said that they're not allowing 5G to make it to their domains or something like that. I don't know if I'm describing it properly.
Huawei.
Was it Huawei?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I heard, like, even this morning I was listening to Spotify, it said, like, we're not letting 5G reach our, like, you know, networks or blah, blah, blah in Australia.
I think it's that they're not letting Huawei in.
Okay.
Because Huawei's kind of has some security risks associated with it, which might be a thing for another episode.
I remember when they first started, when they, like, took over the advertising campaign for, like, I can't remember what season of hockey it was, but Hockey Night in Canada was like every night, everything was sponsored by
Their
Huawei.
spokesperson was Gal Gadot or something like that.
Yeah, where was he from?
It was the girl that plays Wonder Woman.
Oh, Gal Gadot.
Yeah.
For like, was
Is
she
that how you say
in
the name?
Gal Gadot? Yeah, yeah. So
thought it
I
was
thought
like
you were
Gadot.
talking about the Huawei spokesperson for for like the U.S., Canada, and Commonwealth nations, because it's like that, really like westernized white guy that doesn't really seem like he knows anything about Huawei, but he just kind of is like the nice face of it. Yeah.
No, for like because they had a phone that had like super awesome camera on it or something.
Yeah, that could the zoom, right?
Yeah,
That
so
zoom capability
there was like
insane.
showing Gal Gadot in her lifestyle, taking pictures of. Ooh,
I haven't seen that.
I'm an
That's
influencer. Like, and the other big problem with 5G is that the radio frequency that it broadcasts over is the same that we use for long range weather forecasting. So there's reports saying that because of the just sheer amount of noise that we'll put into the spectrum, that it'll send our weather forecasting back to like the 1800s. So we won't know about certain weather events until they're pretty much right on top of us.
That's not good at all.
I'm not trying to be a fear monger here. I'm just bringing up like realistic problems.
Yeah.
Like some of them, like people are like, oh, it's cancer. It's gonna, sterilize the population. Like, no, if it can't get through an umbrella, it can't get through your skin. Okay.
Right.
But the other stuff is like valid concerns to have with this, and I think that these irresponsible companies that don't treat their customers very well are rushing, to do this 5G thing, and I think we should just pump the brakes a little bit, figure out what our actual needs are.
You have to when you have a new innovative technology that you think is going to change the way that we operate a lot of specific things, like internet, like browsing, like everything that comes with that. A lot of companies just jump and freaking jump the gun way too early when they feel like they have an opportunity to seize.
Yeah.
Like 5G is such a new innovative thing, but nobody's taking the actual preemptive measures to make it effective and safe and make people feel comfortable using it. They're not putting anything out that kind of reinforces an actual reason other than just having free service and good networking when you're just walking outside and you have no buildings surrounding you in any vicinity whatsoever.
Yeah.
But nobody else takes any other factors other than that into account.
But it's also just like for, Bell, like, oh, we'll just give you 5G when we have 5G. Like,
yeah, I thought because it's not even that new of a thing. I've always that's like one of my biggest questions. I've heard 5G, like I'm sure much of the audience has many times before.
Well, my point is that if they can't run a phone line, cheap phone line out to my house, like 5G with a radius of 5 feet. Like what? No, they're not going to bring that out to our farm. Like. Yeah, I don't know. It's brutal. I have some links open here.
Yeah, let's.
A lot of it seems to be health related. 5G weather. Yeah, throw what into chaos. Like
just what you said with going back to like it's gonna push our I don't even know the scientific term for
weather forecasting, weather radar,
weatherology. Yeah, but
meteorology.
Meteorology.
Yeah, weatherology.
Weatherology. I knew the ology part, but I forgot about the meteor. Like what you said, the fact that we're going to be taken back to the 1800s in terms of our capability to forecast that type of stuff. That's pretty insane because we're not even at a point now without 5G where we're actually completely 100% efficient / accurate in it.
We're pretty good. Like the fact that we can see a hurricane, miles away and give people like a couple days notice is pretty amazing when you think about it, right? Just the fact, like that's what I'm worried about. Like if we don't know that it's going to rain tomorrow, it sucks. Like hopefully you don't plan a picnic that day. But it's it's more like the hurricanes, the big ice storms, like that sort of stuff. Like so that
disastrous.
I don't mean to sound like a boomer here, but like just so that we can TikTok.
Okay, boomer.
Yeah. I think we've ranted about the internet enough. I'm sure I forgot about something.
I do want to ask you though.
I have one more thing to bring up.
Yeah, go
about
for it.
Specifically my rural internet situation. So because the rural internet's so bad, Bell and Rogers refused to do anything about it. A group of local entrepreneurs were just like, you know what, we're going to make a fiber ISP. Bring fiber to all these local communities.
Yes.
And they brought it to my brother's friend that lives down the street from us. He's got gigabit now. The kid's a little bit of a turd in that he doesn't invite Nolan over enough to use it. He comes to our house, you know, and then updates his Steam games on our 1 megabit per second link. But whatever.
Goof.
Yeah, literally.
So did they bring it to you guys? Like
no. So the problem is that they told us, oh, we'll bring it to you in September. We'll bring it to you in November. You know, like a year passes, another year passes. The problem is that they're fighting with Bell for the rights to use the towers. Not the towers, the posts,
right?
The telephone posts. Bell won't let them use their telephone posts, and this is like a recurring problem. The same thing happened when Mobile came around. That the Canadian government allocated this land to build radio towers for Bell and Rogers to build cell phones or whatever, right? So now that, you know, government allocated land, Bell and Rogers are like, oh, Wind, you can't use our towers, even though Bell and Rogers share towers most of the time.
That doesn't make any sense though, because but how did they give it to that buddy of Nolan's? You know what I mean? That you just said has it.
It's I think it's because they put up their own posts or whatever.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so they actually did it themselves.
Yeah. No, something different happened. Like they sent out a really long email saying that the reason it hasn't happened yet is entirely Bell's fault, and get in touch with them if you have complaints. So hopefully next time I'm there, there's something done about it, because it sucks not being able to watch a movie. So okay, one last thing I want to say. My family is so bizarre because they don't have cable, right? Which is fair. Cable sucks. We don't really have a DVD collection anymore. We kind of got rid of that before we moved because we cut the cable before we moved to the farm.
Yeah.
But they'll be watching something on Netflix in like 240p, and it'll keep cutting out. But when something cuts out for me, I'm like, ugh, you know, like I have a reaction to it. Like I'm visibly annoyed. They just keep looking at the TV like they're still watching the show. Like, it's so weird to me because I'll look around and my dad and my mom will still be like looking at the TV, just like
and just silence. Yeah.
Going. Like the little circles going around and around, and
it's like 1%, 2%, 3%.
My brother might like, you know, look down, check his phone, and look up. You know, like nobody's like annoyed, nobody's reacting to it. It's like the movie's like, still playing. You know,
time stood still.
Yeah.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Weird, man.
I do want to. Can I ask you one thing though? I know we spent a lot of time on this topic, but we've talked about all the negative hindrances and possibilities of 5G. In your opinion, what are like the outlying positives that, if executed properly, you know, we could really, really hit?
So I think this is something that regulators are going to have to step into to force Bell and Rogers to do this, but it's the sheer amount of things that can be connected to the network.
Okay.
So we're talking like everyone's headphones are directly connected to 5G, so you don't need a phone to play music. Every car has a connection for self-driving, but also for traffic reports. Like just anything that is remotely a computer can have its own direct connection to the internet. Gotcha. Because of the sheer amount of bandwidth and capacity that these networks have to connect stuff.
Okay. It's an exciting, nerve-wracking but exciting time, I guess. We'll see how it turns out.
I just wish they had thought about it a little
bit. Did they give
more.
A time frame?
Deadline? It's already rolling out in the States.
It is,
I don't know about Canada.
Jeez. Scary.
Yeah. So we got another note here. You want to talk about UFC 24/7? I want to talk about Baby Peanut.
Yeah, let's do it. Do you want to talk about the electric Hummer?
Sure.
First thing? Okay.
Sure.
Because there's not much to talk about. Like, we haven't seen too much. The electric Hummer was rolled out. Sorry. A short little commercial for it was rolled out with LeBron James as its kind of, you know, little YouTube anchor host there. But it showed us pretty much nothing, like just, you know, jet black screen, you know, talking about like 1,000 horsepower, 0 to 60 in 4 seconds. I think it gave us a 0 to 60 as well. But it just showed us the LED front lights and the grill. And my God, man, I just got to tell you, when I saw that commercial, oh, here it is.
Yeah.
Gave me chills.
Yeah.
Gave me chills. Look at how the lights turn on.
But it's just such a juxtaposition to the old Hummer, right?
Yeah.
Like, because it was so like renownedly inefficient.
Yeah,
you know?
It was the worst. Yeah, it was the worst friggin' fuel efficient, like worst car for fuel efficiency out there, pretty much for a long time.
Yeah,
but
it's
I
weird
think
that it's coming under the GMC nameplate either. You know? Like,
yeah.
But I guess that way they don't need to build out a new dealer network.
Like an actual Hummer one.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
you know how
Like,
it's generally like a GM dealer, and they
Yeah.
have to put the Hummer sign up, you know,
Yeah.
and they just pretty much took them all down.
Yeah, man, it looks pretty cool. I think it's a good move. It's kind of like when you look back to Volkswagen, right? And their emissions scandal and all that whole thing, and then the first thing they shoot back with, just with like putting any message out to the company, they put out a friggin' commercial that is, "In the darkness we found the light," and then push to completely remodel the hippie van, like the buggy van electrically.
My friend just sent me that today that it's back or something.
Yeah.
Westphalia's back.
But I just thought it was hilarious that like in the darkness, in the heat of their screw up and scandal, they found the light, which is no light. They
Yeah.
just electricity. It's crazy. So I think Hummer and GMC, having not gone through something like Volkswagen has recently, just doing that is pretty cool. Yeah, I'm excited for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think we're gonna start seeing a lot of like our big companies, GMC and Ford and all that stuff? Do you think we're gonna start seeing them kind of compete against Tesla a little bit for the electric model?
I think so. That being said, I think the Porsche Taycan was a little bit of a letdown.
Yeah, that was the new one, right?
Yeah, that was the new all electric from the ground up Porsche.
Yeah.
Porsche. I don't know. Someone's gonna.
Those people that are like always so strict about it.
I don't know. I don't actually know which it is.
I say Porsche.
I say Porsche.
Yeah.
But it was kind of low range. I don't think it had super great horsepower. The one that I'm really excited for is the Honda E, which is looks like a first gen Honda Civic. It also kind of cracks me up because there's a guy named E Honda in Street Fighter.
Oh, that
That's
actually looks
Honda
pretty.
E. But like
It's like a smart car.
it's like a classic Civic, Like it looks
Yeah.
like kind of retro futuristic. Like I don't know, man. I'd buy
Looks
that.
like a damn Mini Cooper.
Yeah,
But it looks like it'd be
But
quick.
it's-
You know what I
it's
mean? Like nice
small,
and tight.
and it has the tightest turning radius of like any car ever.
Yeah. Yeah. That
Like,
looks
it'll
like
do
it.
it'll do a full 360 in 1.8 meters, which is like better than like a London cab.
That's
which is, like,
shorter
used
than
to be-
some cars.
Yeah.
Like
Like the front wheels will pretty much do 90 degrees.
damn. Do you know how Audi like Audi was one of the first, or it might have been BMW, I'm not sure. It's Audi or BMW, one of the two, that were the first ones to initialize. I don't know what the mechanical term is for this, but instead of like when you have your wheels going, your front wheels, let's say you turn like that, right?
Yeah.
Well, instead of just going back and forth left to right, they angle
Oh.
out. So like if you were to turn left, you don't just turn left. Your wheels completely change on their axis as you turn. So you don't it just makes a better turning radius for you.
Yeah, that's
So
pretty
I
dope.
know BMW or Audi did that first.
Yeah.
But just like to see that within electric cars, which I know is a prominent thing, is really, really cool.
Yeah, that is pretty dope.
Electric is the future.
What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, I guess the Acuras from the 90s, even some of the higher end Hondas, the front they did like monster trucks where if the front wheels turned this way, the back wheels turned the opposite way, so you could corner harder.
Huh.
Unless you were going high speeds. Because if you're going high speeds, it assumed you were on the highway, and then the back wheels would turn the same way as the front wheels, so that you kind of laterally shifted.
Damn.
This is kind of cool. 'cause,
Yeah,
like,
that's
in the 90s.
That's
too,
really
like,
creative for that time. Holy.
back in the days of like Super Nintendo and like no
Yeah.
computers.
And Akon.
Yeah.
Smack that all on the Sorry, I'm coughing and sniffling so much, guys.
It's got the coronavirus.
I'm a little
We're
yeah.
quarantined in here.
They had no dude, we're actually gonna get this video's gonna get flagged now.
Yeah.
They had no more surgical masks at
Yeah.
any Rexalls or contributing Shoppers Drug Marts. Yeah, so I do apologize about that. Yeah, man, it's gonna be good. Electric cars are friggin' sweet. I hope they get to be like the really really good high end ones like the top notch Teslas. I hope they get to be a little cheaper. I like how
Yeah.
Musk did like the everyday man's car version
Yeah.
for Tesla. He gave like
But
32
Doug
Gs.
Ford
or-
canceled the rebates on it. 'Cause I think the reason it was so cheap was because of the rebates. So you could get one for like 35 grand
Right.
Canadian or something. But I think it cost like 50 grand Canadian outright before rebates or something like that. I don't know. Google it yourself if you're worried.
Yeah.
But yeah, Doug Ford sucks.
sports advertising.
Yes.
And just general media. Let's open it up with Baby Peanut and the Super Bowl and Super Bowl commercials and Disney and Netflix and all this great stuff. What do you think of? Oh yeah, let's just watch it.
No, we'll talk over it.
All right.
I don't know. Like I think it was probably planned out for months or even years to do this ad campaign, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was the same week that Kobe Bryant died. I think it's a little bit distasteful to
Bring a new life.
No, like I just kill
Like-
something like that off, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good point. Yeah, because honestly, that's a good way to
Like, I
look
felt
at
like there
it.
was, I feel like Baby Peanut maybe wasn't the plan. That it was maybe that like we would mourn the Mr. Peanut guy
Yeah,
longer.
yeah. Because did they like give like a send off commercial like his last?
Yeah,
thing?
it was something like he was in the peanut mobile with those two celebrities or whatever,
Yeah.
and they went off the thing and they were all holding onto a tree branch on a cliff or something like that. And then the tree branch was about to let go, so Mr. Peanut sacrificed himself by letting go or something like that. I just like this just seems soulless. You know?
When did that come out?
Like a while ago, like
Okay.
a couple weeks
So
ago.
that wasn't in bad taste. Like with timing of it wasn't around Kobe's
Yeah, I think it was
passing.
before Kobe's
Okay.
death.
Yeah, like from a moral standpoint, I see where you're coming from exactly. Like and especially for
Like
it
just
to
trying
be
to make
shown.
us feel bad about a mascot, you know?
Yeah.
It's just
One, for it to be shown at the largest American sporting event in the in its history and every year, you can't. And like basketball and football, very different sports obviously, but like in terms of the athletes and the image of it and the status of both of those leagues and sports in general are quite similar. So yeah, like to show that at the Super Bowl, which is something that Kobe would definitely be watching, if not some close part of, is pretty distasteful in a lot of ways.
yeah.
But in my marketing class, we were talking about this specific commercial, and just like if you were the campaign manager for Peanut or whatever the company's called, would you run this ad for the Super Bowl? Would you spend this if it was at like 30 seconds? Was it 15?
Well, because you got to think about it as
It's like $5
not
million for
just
that
an
time.
ad; it's a campaign, right?
Yeah,
Because they ran the one where he died, and then they had a bunch of memorial stuff, and their
Mhm.
Twitter had gone to rip Mr. Peanut and stuff.
yeah.
You know, like
See, I think he should have, cause yeah, like I'm psyched. Yeah, we got a new Mr. Peanut. Like I could be psyched. We got a new Mr. Peanut mascot and all that,
but
but
it's just like
we don't
you
have a new
shouldn't be
product.
psyched.
It's the same thing.
This company is not your friend. You know, like this is not a real person. Like,
Yeah.
that's my point. You know,
Yeah,
it's
they're
like,
not actually helping you in any. They're not really doing you a huge service. They're just giving you something.
well, it's
tasty.
just like they just want people to talk about them. Like it's an engineered reason for people to be talking about Planters peanuts, which is just
Yeah.
like it's peanuts. You know, it's such a commodity. Like it's
they're just trying to be.
Yeah, I'm having
They're
a
trying to
hard
be
time-
relevant.
yeah. I'm
know what I
having a hard
mean?
time putting my frustration into words with this, but I
Yeah.
just this
It's
ad
hard to be mad
campaign
at a baby peanut.
bothers me. You know,
Yeah.
I thought the Tide ad stuff from last year was really funny.
The Tide ones.
Yeah,
don't
where
know
it was
if I
the
saw
guy
those.
from it was the guy from Stranger Things.
Oh yeah. Oh
And it
yeah,
would s-
yeah, yeah.
It would start out and it was like, oh, you know, like horses on like you think it's a truck
Yeah.
commercial, and he's like, nope, Tide ad,
Yeah.
and you know, like there were a bunch of them.
I loved it. Yeah,
Yeah.
that actor. It's Hopper, right? The big guy.
He's like the sheriff or something. Yeah,
Looks like he
yeah.
could speak Russian, which he does in the new Black
Yeah.
Widow movie. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Speaking of which, Marvel is looking really, really well set up for the next year and a half. They during the Super Bowl. I don't know if you saw this commercial, but Marvel basically obviously was like full rights were bought out by Disney. But they since Disney Plus was launched, they've launched I think like 6 or 7 new productions, 4 of which are shows: WandaVision, Loki, the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which is like the new Captain America, and then
Yeah.
one other one. Yeah, I can't remember, but I saw like they put together like a 15-20 second like just advertisement commercial for it, and it looks so good. Like I remember just seeing the first scene was just Falcon, Captain America, for those of you that don't know, no spoilers, it's been out for so long, has died. So they have a new Captain America, and just the opening scenes, this guy just pulling a freaking shield up and whipping it at a tree, like Loki's freaking looking all ominous and crazy stuff. It's just I'm excited. I'm frantic right now about it. Honestly, I get so excited about
Man,
Marvel stuff. I can't
like,
even talk about it properly.
I've always been like a Star Wars sci-fi kind of guy. I feel like maybe the Marvel stuff like started like after, like I feel like when Iron Man came out and stuff like that, I was kind of like over the like when you're a little kid and you're really into that sort of stuff. Like I was really into Star Wars when I was that little kid, and then the Marvel stuff came.
Right.
So like I've never really cared,
in general.
just in general.
Right.
Like I'll go see a Marvel movie if my friends want to. If someone's like, oh, I want to see the new Infinity War, I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like I see like the major ones, like I see the Avengers ones.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not in theaters, but I'll at least like make a point of watching them.
Right.
Just so I like can.
But you won't do like all the like the solo movies and the individual.
My thing too is that they're all the same like beat sheet,
Oh yeah, for sure. The
Like,
the hero story is very common.
But it's not even the hero story; it's the Marvel story. It starts out guy has a good guy has thing, good guy loses thing,
Yeah.
bad guy has thing,
Yep.
good guy tries twice to
Retrieve
get thing back,
Yeah.
and then on the third attempt he succeeds.
I'm literally thinking of Black Panther. That's exactly what
Black
it is.
Panther.
Yeah.
That's that's Ant-Man.
Mm-hmm.
That's Iron Man. That's
It's
Iron Man 2. That's
all of them.
all of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even like the Infinity War, because it's the stones or whatever. I
Mhm.
guess that one's a little bit different because
See,
there are more stones.
And
stuff,
that's the
but-
thing. That's the difference between like me, because like if you and I are both like super hardcore Star Wars guys, like
Yeah.
but you so more than me. Whereas I'd say I'm more of a Marvel guy
Yeah.
than you would be. But like it's the act of like knowing and have read the comics, knowing like the actual lore and the candid like realities and like just the ripple effects, not just seeing the actual splash. Sorry, not just seeing like the actual splash as the movie, but all of the outline.
I just want to say, to be
meanings
fair,
to everything.
like the new Star Wars movies have been terrible.
Yeah.
And I've seen them all in theaters.
Yeah.
And even the old Star Wars movie, there's a very thin plot. Like you can't be looking at them critically.
No.
You just enjoy them for the sake of enjoying them.
Right. But they're also really fun when you like if you know anything about like because you know how they've done so many new animated shows for like young kids now, and there's actually a lot of those shows, despite the fact that they're mainly just for kids, kind of like same realm as Paw Patrol or something like that. They do follow very strict Star Wars candid storyline, which along with like a lot of different books and stuff like that makes
Some
it
of them
really
deal
cool.
with like pretty adult themes and stuff too, like for a kids show. I don't know.
Well, dude, I remember seeing one scene in one of like the Clone Wars animated series for kids. It's like 12 plus or something. And one of like the scenes that I saw in the only episode that I watched, a guy got like his chest cavity cut in half with a blade. Like it was freaking nuts, man. Craziness, crazy.
We're down to our last 2 minutes here.
There's a huge UFC event this Saturday. I'm very excited for that. And I usually don't mention UFC, but I will just because the GOAT, the greatest of all time, is fighting this weekend. John Jones versus Dominic Reyes, UFC 247, light heavyweight championship. John Jones is the reigning.
Such a bizarre thing to say. Light heavyweight. Oh my God.
John Jones is the
Jumbo
reigning light
shrimp,
heavyweight. That's actually so true. Jumbo shrimp, I love it. But yeah, it's going to be a wicked fight, so you should all tune in. He's the greatest of all time, and we owe our respects to watch potential at its finest. Yeah, man.
Just dead air.
That was it.
All right. I don't have much to add. Bell, you suck, even though my last name is Bell.
Yeah, try and get the man some decent internet. All right? Yeah.
Right? Like, this is beyond, like...
I feel like...
1 megasecond was slow in 2002.
Yeah.
It's 2020. Like,
oh, you're 20 years behind.
yeah.
Well, fingers crossed. Maybe, we're putting this message out.
Those
Somebody will
fiber
see it.
guys.
We get a knock on the door. Mom and Papa Bell get a
Shout out
nice
to
gift.
the fiber dudes that are, like, bringing us their own
Mhm.
fiber.
Yeah.
30 seconds left.
Do you want to shout out anyone? Anyone else?
Shout out my friends in Singapore, Eunice and Raimi.
Oh, yeah,
shout
they're
out my
over there.
Practicum group. Shout out. No, that was a smile. I like my
love
Practicum
it.
group.
Yeah, I love it.
You got any shout outs?
No, just thanks guys for bearing with us. I know we were a little jittery for the first episode back, but we hope you enjoyed the first episode of season 2. We hope to see you back very, very soon next week, Thursday 10 a.m. Have a great weekend, everybody.